Welcome to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path.
This is the TARTLEcast with Jason Rigby and who's in the house?
You got Alex here in the house.
Alex is in the house. Hey, Alex,
house.
You're in your own house. I'm in my own house. We are trying something new here to make sure that we are legit and being safe. Have you been pretty safe here lately?
Yeah, you can. I mean, not really much has changed. It's New Mexico. You know, like no one lives next to one another. So like us getting like close and actually spreading the COVID is not that big of a deal.
No, I think but I mean, I saw you hiking the other day. You weren't coughing on anybody on the trails, were you?
No, it's fine. Come on, like think about it. Like people going to hike. I mean, those people, they're practically going to be in good shape, or they're asymptomatic. And on top of that, the state allows anyone to hike as long as the group's under 5.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. One of the things that I've seen and noticed is that there seems to be a correlation, and maybe you can get into this with the survey that Turtle just did with the health side of things. Seems to be people that, may have, conditioned themselves to, eating badly, having poor health, poor spirit. But one of the things that I'm really noticing is underlying conditions, somebody that had underlying condition. I know you just put out a survey on Turtle.
Yeah, so we did the COVID-19 survey, and we asked a body of questions that we could find some sort of like cross correlation from the user base that we have. And the idea behind the study was to see was there any relations between the choices people were making in terms of travel, staying at home, having medical conditions already in place, the amount of time they typically spend, going to the doctor per year, if they choose to go to a doctor. And then from that to see who they're actually with in their local area or within their household that they could possibly spread it to or share those same characteristics with. And so what we're doing is by putting that study out with Tartle, it was kind of a two-phase thing. One, for the first time ever, it allows us to survey the entire global population because we're in 22 different countries. And that's really, speaks to the power of Tartle at the same time. But on top of that, it gives us the ability to release research and data that can help people that are driving decisions and finding those correlations that can lead to more positive outcomes for, the care, for patient care and anyone else in the healthcare setting.
I love that.
Do you like that? And so when we're doing studies like this, it's a twofold thing. It's one is to prove the point that we can get answers quicker from the individual directly from the source by paying them for that info. And two, we have the ability to survey the entire world that any sort of healthcare system or government doesn't have the ability to do right now to find those sort of cross correlations. So we think that's the beauty in what we're doing here. And this isn't just about Tartle. I mean, this is about, the power of people coming together to solve our own problems. And I think that's where the real sweet spot is.
I know, but when you think about it, how important is this? Is somebody is sitting in their home. We have this, COVID-19 crisis happening right now. They're sitting in their home. There's no way to get to them or reach them but through the internet, or you can make a phone call. Most people are not going to answer their phone if they don't know the number for a survey, but you're able to speak to them directly, ask them a question that could be because they trust the system, they trust Tartle. So you're able to ask these intimate questions to them and find out on the ground, like boots on the ground, find out exactly how they're feeling. Or they felt like they had a fever? Do they feel like, I mean, the possibilities are unlimited when you really think about what questions you could ask to get a perception, because their perception's their reality, to get a perception of how they're feeling.
Well, Jason, that's just spot on, using the right word. No, and then that perception is key, right? And when there's a state of fear that surrounds something, whether it's a topic or an event or anything like that, it causes people to wrap themselves inward. They don't choose to expand. They choose to huddle, go into a rock, hide, not show themselves, not connect with anyone. So what we're saying is that regardless of the state of fear or the system that is in place or the perception of reality for everyone, we have the ability to find out what the throttle or the measurement of that state might be. And regardless of where they are geographically, because they are a part of the system, because they trust the system, we have the ability to get that access directly to the individual, where you wouldn't be able to have doctors knocking around or people coming up to do surveys or doing those cell phone calls or, whatever sort of telemarketing, or telesurveys, because you're just not going to be able to get that information because, one, you lack the trust, doesn't have the name, you're right, and you can't speak to the level of granularity that can be done when you're talking about a system that is based specifically on this data created by the individual.
Yeah, and I think what I think is cool with it all also is the ability to be able to. Dude, did you just have dogs barking?
Oh yeah, the dogs are going nuts outside. This is what happens when you work at home.
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah, I know. They're just bananas. They have no modicum of decorum. For when
No. You have to say, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast, guys." Have you seen the video on Instagram or whatever that's real famous right now with the dog that keeps howling? Then finally the lady like sticks her finger inside of his mouth. And then he's like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this." It's real funny. It's a cool, it's like, a pit bull. Yeah.
It just depends on our perspective, whether we're an animal or a human being, how we're going to interpret information. Right. And they interpret it through body language and sometimes, gentle physical coercion.
Right.
Or, emotional love, however you treat your animal. But the same thing goes for humans. Right. And so how do you get them to respond to you? When they're living in their own little world or bubble? Well, you got to find a local incentive, a medium that both people agree on.
Right.
And that's why, the TARTLE medium, our marketplace, by paying from that data works. And now to double down on that, I want to talk about, some of the updates that kind of leads us into. Now, we recently just finalized our partnership with Greenlight Health Services.
Right.
So what that means is when you log into TARTLE, you're going to have an option under the data category for integrations. You'll see it on the top left. And what it will allow is over 85% of Americans will now have complete access to every single doctor's note, every single piece of surgery, every single visit, every pill they've ever taken on their electronic health record can be accessed, downloaded, and then monetized through the TARTLE marketplace.
So are you able to? So how do you correlate like sending a survey out, like a COVID-19, with the medical data packets that you're getting?
So that's interesting. So what you can do is you can actually combine both, because of the way the system's designed, we can take the data that we have on that you have on your healthcare record, and then we can take those key value pairs, which is just a technical term to say we're going to borrow one category from the health record and put it with the category of the survey. So as you answer certain parts of the survey question, the system will auto-populate the other categories that match up with what your health record is saying. So now we have behavioral choice data and emotional data paired with the quantitative, healthcare data, which is something that is absolutely untouched, and no one anywhere has ever had the ability to do that. So for the first time in history, we're actually allowing, a society of people to access their medical information and then monetize that information.
Yeah, no, that for me, it's I keep hearing a lot of background noise. I don't know if it's your.
I got the girlfriend blabbing back here. She's working too.
So you guys are working diligently in this time. You're not sitting like chilling watching Ozark on Netflix.
No. This is a shared office right now. We're trying to get as much done as possible.
Have you watched Ozark?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't watched the third season yet.
Stuffing money in the pontoon boat.
Yeah, I haven't watched the third season yet. I'm really excited about it. I saw the first two seasons, but I know this has kind of been a big thing. I mean, I wonder what views and data you could pull from Netflix. I know they don't like to share it, but it's got to be amazing.
No, I think that's interesting. We'd probably have to make a call with them and be like, hey, would you be willing to integrate kind of your user data that you have for what people are watching, into TARTLE? Now, what's interesting about that is because we have a lot of updates coming into the system, and these system updates are going to make it so much easier for people to not only sign up, be walked through, show them the true value in that tool, and also help them create these data assets so that they can monetize them more quickly and at a higher volume and frequency. So, we'll have enhanced notifications to tell you when these bids comes in. They'll send you text messages to your phone. We'll have push notifications that come through your browser, so you're never going to miss that opportunity. On top of that, we're going to guide you in the direction for which packets are going to be the most popular, which ones are going for the highest price right now, which one is actually being sold the most, and which ones are newest in the system. So it's going to give the user a little bit more of an educational workflow and guidance so that we can hold their hand and move them through this process and bring them to the top of the mountain's crest. It's like we're acting as the Sherpa and you're the real hero in the story. So we want to give you all the tools you need so that you can complete this journey of data ownership. And we think that I hope you like that. And I just, these updates are going to be really, really big improvements, overall for the health of the system and for the health of the people using it. And it's going to make big differences in how we look at data and how we look at ourselves using TARTLE.
So, because you had mentioned, I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag, but you had mentioned like new website updates, new website, all that. So user experience, what are you looking at? Like, what are some of the things that you've looked at? I know you just shared a few of them, but have you gone into detail about how easy it is to sign up, or what are kind of the key things that you've seen?
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about that because we've gotten a lot of feedback from users all over the globe. And what they've talked about is that when they've joined the system, they're like, okay, so what's next? It's the simplicity of signing up has always been there, for them. And we have, videos that'll welcome them on the first stage of the sign up when they're doing it. And then we'll welcome them and tell them what's next once they're actually in the system. But beyond that, the thing is that when they're inside of it, they ask that what's next. So it's okay. It's like, give me a little guidance. This is a new tool. This is something that requires a lot of education.
Right.
Not that it's difficult, but it's just to understand the value and the power of it. And so once we can show them, here's step 1, step 2, step 3, go to your packets, integrate with your social media profiles. Let's start pulling that data down first. And now let's take a look at what's popular so that you can be on your way to that data ownership, and you'll be much more quickly able to monetize that information that you're populating the system with, that you constantly use day in and day out on the internet. And we think those are the things that are truly important because people just needed that last bit of guidance to understand, like, okay, I got the sign up process. I understand the value of the system, but where do I go next once I'm on?
Right. Exactly.
And on top of that, how do you notify me when something is happening? And a lot of those technical milestones that we had to hit dealt with being a web app, which was something different from actually being on the App Store, not having that native ability to speak directly to the phone's operating system. But now that we have found a workaround for that, we're going to offer all the options that are available with a regular app that you download from the App Store. But you're going to have all the power in a web app, and you never have to worry about an update ever again.
I love that. Now, whenever you're looking at whether it's an app or whether it's a website, what specifically has TARTLE done here recently? Because we took a break with the COVID-19 and everything, and I know you've been working diligently. What specifically have you done as a, I could say the word corporation, but as a business? What are some of the updates that you've done internally? Because we like to be transparent with everything that's being done with TARTLE.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. So in terms of our internal updates, we've taken a lot of feedback from the customers, and we've done that to design how we want to actually speak to them in terms of our marketing. And the marketing aspect is a big part of it because we're not trying to use the aspect of coercion to get someone to sign up.
Right.
All we're doing is that we're educating them on the subject of TARTLE, and we're giving them the choice and the option to do so. Again, it's no cost for someone to use the system, but we want to make sure that the way we market is responsible within itself so that it's not forceful or trying to sway someone into doing something they otherwise wouldn't want to do in the first place. We want to make sure that our marketing affords them all the educational material ahead of time so that they can make the right choice and they can be comfortable in signing up and trusting us to put that data in place. That's the first thing. And then internally, we also looked at it as like, how do we tell our story through the website itself? Because the website is like the new billboard. Okay,
Right.
It's your digital billboard.
Right.
And instead of putting something on the highway where someone's only going to take a moment to look at it, you're going to try and influence them as much as possible very quickly. Well, what we've done is we've retooled our entire website so that when you go on it, it gives a nice cohesive story for the person that's going in to sell the data and the people that are looking to buy that data. And also, what is that connection between the buyer and the seller so that as a person on either side of the marketplace can understand the value coming from both sides and both parties and what they're looking to achieve. And then on top of that, we have huge enhancements in our Knowledge Center. And the Knowledge Center will tell you all the different aspects of TARTLE. It's a very enhanced FAQ and gives you every possible video and podcast we've ever done so that you can take it in bite-sized pieces and work up to the larger amount so that you can become the expert in your own journey in what this tool is so that you can help others and you can be their Sherpa and guide them along the way. And that's also something that is cohesive with how our marketing or education plan works from an internal aspect with us at TARTLE.
I love that. And so like whenever you're looking at, growing TARTLE and you're talking to investors and stuff like that, what are one of the things that you're looking at as far as bringing something that's new that they may not have seen or understood? And when it comes to your structure or your systems, what are some of the things that you're talking to now when you talk to your investors?
No, I mean, that's cool. Jason, you and I both know this is a long social play.
Right.
That we're talking about. We're talking about large cultural, educational change across many geographies. And this isn't something that's easy. And so when you look at the investor world, and I want everyone to know this, that even a user for the system and, prospective users, is that when you're going to raise money from people like venture capitalists, a lot of them have a mindset, of like, okay, I just want to be in this company for 5 to 7 years. I want it to grow enough to a point where other people will buy me out of it and I can make my money and be done with it. That's the typical 90% of the framework of people that go into venture capital investing.
Right.
Now, other people that want to risk their capital have a deeper understanding in the risk aspect of it, where that this is an impact investment, that this is something a lot more long-term. And so when you go to find those people, it's like you don't just want to, bring in money from anyone that can help support the business and help it grow quicker. You want to find people that truly align with your core value and your mission, and they believe in what you're doing just as hard as you believe in it. And when you can find that match, those are the people you want to align with. So when we speak to venture capitalists and other investors, you want to look for those people that share in that mission. And even more, to expand on that point, when we're bringing on a lot more people, the team's growing very quickly. There's a lot of very well qualified people out there that can fill a lot of positions.
Right.
And, I don't want to look at them as a commodity, or cannon fodder. You have to look at them as a human being. So you have to say, okay, if I'm looking at the aspect of human being for someone I want to bring on, these people have to emotionally align with what we're doing. So you have the technical background across thousands of candidates, but where is that needle in the haystack for that person that truly believes in the mission and what we're trying to achieve? And Jason, you and I, we've been on this and we've talked about it before, and we're very public about this. I mean, this is a big mission, and you and I care very deeply about it. So finding other people like you and I, that's a difficult thing to do.
Yes.
It's just as difficult as finding that investor capital that believes in what you're doing, right? And the most interesting part of the conversation is that, they're like, well, why would I want to get into something like this? It doesn't make much sense. Are you sure people would want to use this? Well, it's like, we have so many people from all across the globe signing up every single day. It's not that you're investing in the product, you're investing in the people.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
100%.
It's not the technology that's the asset. It's your faith in humanity and human beings. That's what you're putting your money into. You're putting your money into faith that people will find the balance. They will come together to help one another and solve all of our problems, and that they'll use this tool to do it. So it's not that you're investing in TARTLE's technology stack where we have our servers, what we're doing with this and our technological background. That's not it. You invest in me and the team, and you invest in every single individual that believes just as hard as we do to be one of those early adopters of the system and sign up. You're investing in them. And that's pretty much the best way to diversify your risk, because if you can diversify your risk across all different types of people all across the globe, I mean, that's a statistician's dream.
Yes, of course, 100%. I mean, because each continent has its own culture. Each continent has its own ability to disseminate information. It has its own way that it decides how the internet is going to work, in their country through their laws and regulations. So for TARTLE to be able to filter out through that, you need that diversity.
Yeah, you need that diversity. And what's cool about that is even though it's so diverse, all of these people still find the common thread between one another to be like, hey, I see the value in this. And what we find is that there's a perceived common value that unifies us all, and there's a unifying value of that perception. And if we know that reality is our perception, then we understand that there's a unified principle that brings us all together. And we found that little piece, and we're just saying, hey, let's use this technology so we can all help each other on our own journeys into the future.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I love that. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you have another meeting that you have to go to, Alex. So we're at 20 minutes on here. But thanks for the update. I appreciate it. I know everybody that's out there, all our TARTLE fans are going to love this. And we maybe we should do this again here if we're extended out till whenever they say. But
that's all right. I mean, we got to get back in the studio though. I miss that energy.
I know.
It
no
just
kidding.
drags being at the house.
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to, you notice I said at the end of the day, we have a message that needs to be brought to the people. And I think that's something that one of the things that I've noticed more than anything, and maybe you could speak to this just real quickly. One of the things I've noticed more than anything is a lack of true, honest, transparent, fearless leadership. We're just not seeing that anywhere. Like on any, I mean, it's funny to me how we're seeing these people that are supposed to be our leaders, and they're hiding at home, which is fine, but there's like no message coming out. Here's the direction you need to go. Here's what needs to happen. Everybody just pushed a big pause button in the time of a crisis.
Jason, whether it's relationships, marriages, business, whatever it is, the second communication fails, the relationship fails.
Yes, exactly.
So if we're not here to communicate with the people that believe in what we're doing, then it's like having someone, it's like the car's driving itself and, someone's asleep behind the wheel. We're not a bunch of somnambulists or like sleepwalkers here. We're people that want to be at the forefront. We want to bear that torch with you. We want to be in that public eye. We want to be transparent. We want to make sure you educate properly so that you can go out and share with others this journey in the same sort of well-structured intellectual manner that we can talk about it also. So people are like, wow, I get that. I see the value in it. I understand that trust. And, having those leaders is extremely important. And I'm not saying I'm the top leader out there, but just to give a general idea of how I feel about this, I was on the call with Jonathan, our co-founder, and Jonathan was like, Alex, I don't want to say you're crazy, right? You're not crazy. You're not someone that seeks risk just for the fun of seeking risk, like doing things, dangerous isn't the right word, but things that are, difficult to achieve.
Right.
He says, the reason you choose to do things that are difficult is because you truly believe it's the right thing to do. And I think when you talk about a leader and other people can sense that, they really want to feel and know and make sure that everything you do does not, align you in their perspective to be a hypocrite. You're someone that truly believes in the mission because it is absolutely the right thing to do. And that what you've created and what you speak about really does no harm. It's something that only is trying to enhance the lives and the evolutionary process of who we are as human beings.
Mm. Yeah, and but I mean, and I know we got to go because you got to go to this other meeting. But it's just so sad to me to see that there's no risk anymore. Everybody has to, per se, get the data to play it safe. When we see so many history leaders that stepped up to the plate and said, this is the direction we're going. This is what we're going to do. And whether you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever it may be, conservative, liberal, if you're in the UK, it's just where are our leaders to tell us what needs to be done? You know what I mean?
And I think, and let's be clear on something. Yes, I am helping lead this company, but it is truly led by the individuals that sign up and support us on this mission.
Yes.
We're not the real leader. I'm just a voice for the people that are here, and I'm willing to speak on their behalf and take these risks for them because I believe in them, I believe in myself, and I believe in the mission. And I think that's the difference here. It's not that the leader tells people what to do. It's a leader that can articulate and speak to the true emotional needs, the true qualitative and quantitative needs that these people actually want. And that really shines through in, what a top tier leader really is. Not someone that can just execute and make decisions. Anybody can make a decision.
Right, exactly.
But it's about truly understanding the people you're making that decision for, and understanding that, you're not the end all be all, head of the snake. This is more like an octopus with many arms or a tree branch with its roots going deep into the earth. I mean, it's all these other people that are making decisions towards the health of the tree. And that's what you have to listen to.
Yeah, and I know I'm going to let you go because I know you got this other meeting. I appreciate you speaking to that. I just wanted to make sure that we were being extremely, I think now one of the key things in leadership is having empathy. and being empathetic to what is going on. And I know, and I just love what you said there. If somebody wants to sign up for TARTLE, we always want to make sure we make sure that we mention this. If they want to be a part of this community, how would they do that?
Really simple. You go to tartle.co, TARTLE.co, and you're going to see this really big green button, and it says join now. And when you click on that, it's going to bring you to the registration page. In under 30 seconds, you can have yourself signed up and you can begin populating those data packets. You'll be on your way towards data monetization and ownership.
I love that. Well, thanks, Alex. I appreciate you with the update.
Yeah, cool deal, Jason. Listen, man, let's get back in the studio soon, all right?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to TartleCast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path. What's your data worth?